What's going on, people? LP2000 coming back at you with another video. This time I want to do a little video about certain little alterations that you can make to your X Plus figures. It all started back late last year, around February, when I got the Mechagodzilla 1974 Diamond reissue. And as some of us know, that figure was plagued with a little problem with his leg. It came in, and the figure came in and looked like the leg was like deformed, like it was kind of crooked, like it was crookedly attached to the body. And you had to just reheat the vinyl and freeze it to get it back into position again, which I did, and it was successful. So it got my mind to thinking, are there certain other alterations that I can make to other X Plus figures without doing any cutting or any major surgery? I'm not that talented to do something like that, but I just wanted to show y'all a couple of little quick things that maybe you can do to change the overall look of your figure, provided if you got an extra one. So let's start off with the Godzilla 1968 Diamond reissue, as well as the other Godzilla 1968 Diamond reissue. Sorry about the shaking cam, but as you can see, the one on the right, what I did was basically I heated the vinyl, because you know it has that pose right here. I heated the vinyl and I used some hair bows, thanks to my daughters, thank you very much. And just basically I tied one bow around one arm, as well as the other arm, and attached it to the head to make the head seem all straighter. And since that this left arm is up high, I just tied that down to the foot to put it back into place, and just froze it for like a week to 2 weeks. And let me just take this off right fast so you can see. There you go. There you go. Bear with me because it's kind of hard. There you go. That's it. And now you have a different pose for your Godzilla 1968 without doing any cutting or whatever. I highly suggest, if you're going to be doing this, just let it sit in the freezer for at least a week to 2 weeks. That way the vinyl won't pop back into place once it goes into a normal environment. That's what vinyl is known to do, is go back to its original form. But if you freeze it long enough and keep it in place long enough, the vinyl will go into its new position. So this little quick fix, I think it's a good pose for the Godzilla 1968. It does have a pose similar to the 25 centimeter, but I think it looks cool. It really looks cool. I highly suggest, if you do this, just make sure that when you heat the vinyl and you want to move the neck to make the head more straightforward, just be mindful of the bulges in the vinyl right here. You may have to play with it a little bit just to make the vinyl pop out a little bit. That way it won't look too deformed once you try to sculpt the new pose. But other than that, this is just a simple thing that you can do to add more life to your figure, without doing any cutting or any surgery. So I think it looks great. So there you go, the Godzilla 1968 Diamond reissue. Now let's move on over here to a warm part of the room, a pun intended. Of course, we all know what this is. The gigantic series Burning Godzilla 1995 Desugoji. Now, as you can see, they pretty much look identical, except for the mouth. And once again, what I did, I just heated up the vinyl on the jaw here of this one. And this is my wife's, by the way. And basically just tied a hair bow around the jaws and kept it into place. And that's basically the result. As you can see, the normal figure has his jaws wide open, which is fine. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but for me, for a personal preference, I like to have the jaws just a little bit closer in, whatever. But that's just my personal preference. And like I said, just heat up the vinyl on the jaws, take a hair bow or a rubber band, and freeze it. Mind you, I don't think, unless you have a big freezer where you store lots of meat, this Godzilla probably won't fit in most freezers or refrigerator. So around this time of year, if it's cold where you're living at, just take advantage of the cold weather and set it outside for a couple weeks, or sit in your garage or whatever. Just make sure you freeze the vinyl in place for like a week, and it'll stay the way it is. And I like this because it gives a new expression to the figure. You know, of course Godzilla's mad and ticked off and everything, but I just like the difference of expressions. Once again, no surgery required, no cutting tools required, no expert skills are required. Just basically a hair dryer, a freezer, or put into a cold environment, and a hair bow and a rubber band, and you set. But if you're gonna be doing this, I highly suggest just be mindful of the tongue, because if you close the jaws in too tight, the tongue may pop out, which is not a good thing. I mean, but it could easily be attached in there with some super glue or whatever. But just don't close the jaws too tight together. Just close them. Just be mindful of that when you try to close the jaws, that you don't apply enough pressure when you are closing the jaws in, and that way the tongue won't pop out. But if it does pop out, just use a little super glue or Gorilla Glue. Just put a little speck up there so it won't be too excessive, and just put it back in the mouth, and that's pretty much it. So once again, subtle differences, but sometimes they do mean a lot when it comes to the overall presence of the figure. So, but I love them both. But I do like the way I did, you know, close the jaw a little bit, you know. But it just gives you a different perspective from the same figure. Now, for my last alteration. Now, this is something that I was kind of worried about doing. But what I did, I repainted the gigantic series Burning Godzilla and repainted it as the rebirth version of Godzilla at the end of Godzilla vs. Destroyer. Basically, I took a gigantic series figure and gave it the definitive Heisei colors. What I did was basically just color in the black areas and blended it in with the rest of the figure, and did some dry brushing to give it some depth, as Mr. Fresh Vinyl would say, to give it some depth. And I repainted the dorsal plates dirty white bone color as it is on most of the Heiseis, and that's pretty much all I did. And I like it. I mean, I was really scared about doing this because I didn't know if I was going to be able to pull it off. But I think for somebody who don't have the best modeling skills, I think I did a good job overall. You know, I mean, and that's one thing about this version. Although we only saw like a little bit at the end of Godzilla vs. Destroyer, just a little small bit. The Godzilla 1991 is my favorite out of the Heisei, but as a close second, or maybe a close tie to 91, is this version right here. I wish we could have saw more of it. Kind of makes you wonder if Toho was able to see how, of course, they killed off Godzilla and Godzilla vs. Destroyer to make room for the American one that was coming out, The Abomination of 1998. I wonder if they could have saw into the future and see how that movie was going to be. Maybe we could have got more of Godzilla Heisei movies with this design, but that's I guess that's too much wishful thinking on my part. Yeah, but that's it. It's like the biggest alteration I've ever done when it comes to these X Plus figures. Now, these figures are perfect as it is, but sometimes it doesn't hurt to do some augmentations and little changes just to bring something else out of the figure. I mean, they're perfect by itself, but a little help doesn't hurt. I know for a fact, like Cody Roberts, when it came down to the Godzilla 1968, he actually made his into the Godzilla 1972 from Godzilla vs. Gigan. He closed the mouth, he altered the neck and the arms. Of course, he's an expert at this, and he did some cutting, from what I understand, and just sculpted, did a little more sculpting to the figure, and added some blood on his brow and on his arm. Really cool. Really cool. Like I said, I'm not that talented, but these little changes, you know, if you try it, I'm sure that you'll like it. But and hopefully you will. But if not, if you enjoy them the way you are, that's fine. I just want to just give you a little snippet of the changes that I've done to a couple of mine. As far as this one, as far as the eyes, At first I did leave the eyes as the blood red eyeball like it was on the original Burning Godzilla. But as you can see, I took a page out of the Yuji Sakai Godzilla 1989 with the dark red brownish eyes with the black pupil. You can't really probably see because of the light or whatever. Let me just get the light better here. Yeah, let's see, yeah. There you go, that's it. Yeah, so that's why I did to give him those eyes, because the 91 had those same kind of eyes as well as the 89. So I gave him those eyes because, you know, to me that's my definitive version of the Heisei Godzilla, the 91 or 89 to a lesser extent. But other than that, I think it's a great figure, and I'm really proud of myself for what I did. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. The Rebirth Godzilla. I would say the Godzilla 1994, but I don't really like that one, so I'm just going to call this the Rebirth Godzilla. So the rundown, Godzilla 1968 with the little alterations and to the sculpt and to the pose. The Burning Godzilla 1995 with the changes to the mouth and the jaws. And of course, the repaint of the Burning Godzilla 1995, or as I call it, the Rebirth Godzilla. So but that's pretty much it. I just wanted to share this with y'all, and I mean, if you have any questions, just holler at me in the comment section. And like I said, if you love your figures where you are, that's fine. But if you want to do a little changes without doing any cutting or anything like that, just like I said earlier, just reheat the vinyl, proportion it where you want to proportion it, and then freeze it for a long period of time, and then use some twist ties or rubber bands to hold whatever you want to hold it in place, and boom, you're in business. But that's pretty much it. I thank y'all for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see y'all again on the next figure and movie review. Y'all have a good day. Bye.